Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at r/Am I the Butthole? And today we seem to have a lot of entitled people. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, then stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. So first post, am I the butthole for no longer giving support to my wife's family after I became successful with my own company, after they talked down about me? I would say no. If people want to talk crap, then they're going to have to expect that you're not going to want to throw money at them. My early 30s wife, mid 20s, grew up in a fairly poor environment. Her grandpa had money, but her mum didn't, and her sister doesn't. My wife has an incredibly strong work ethic. She's probably more so defined as a workaholic. When I first met her, I was in trucking, making about 50 to 70k a year. Since then, I've developed a niche for a specialty marketing field and become very good at it. All my friends encouraged me to go into business for myself with a marketing company. My wife was fully supportive of this, even after we discussed the financial difficulties we would have for the first year or so due to a limited budget. I made sure she knew that some months I may not get a check from the business. My salary is paid monthly. Her family, however, were not. They accused me of neglecting my family, being lazy, not wanting to work, etc. They would constantly be bringing up the fact that I didn't have a job because I was always home, working remote. She would defend me, but they would ignore it and continue to call me lazy and a deadbeat for putting my daughter in daycare while I worked from home. I was still driving a truck part-time to have steady, reliable income, but it was only half of what I was making on a good week. Honestly, people love to stick their oar in when you work from home. A lot of people are just really jealous of it. Like, I work from home myself, and I know full well that there is a few people, say on the school run, who see me come in and then I go straight home and they probably have a real good gossip like, oh yeah, she doesn't work. She gets to sit at home all day. Whereas really, it's not that at all. I just don't tell everyone my business and I don't get involved with everyone. I barely talk to anyone on the school run because they're all very gossipy, You have to pick and choose who you tell things to. So just because you don't know what someone's doing with themselves in their spare time doesn't mean they're not doing anything. And yeah, people do love to bitch as well. They just love to have a gossip and a bitch and stick their oar in. There's always going to be a naysayer, always. In the last year, however, I have grown my income from my business beyond what I was making in trucking and have very little overhead. We realised a lot of things we were paying for we could do without or found other alternatives, and we never really added those expenses back, so it's like we have significantly more money now. I still drive a semi occasionally for a friend who owns his truck, mainly to keep my CDL active and stay knowledgeable in the industry as a fallback. Oh yeah, it's such a good idea to keep a fallback like that, something, that's reliable, that is always going to be needed, that you could go back to if things all went down the poo chute tomorrow. You never know what's coming. It's always good to have a backup plan. Her family has taken note and they are constantly asking to go out to eat with us, hang out with us, etc., then get mad when I never pay for the meals, the outing, the vacation, etc., aside from my part of the tab, obviously. And why the hell would you? I bet you any money if this guy had said, I'm doing this work from home now, I'm running my own business, and they'd been super supportive and they'd been saying, good on you, well done, we can't wait to see where it goes. I bet they would be so happy, considering they have a lot of money, to pay for that. But why on earth should they when they were so mean to him? Looking back, I understand why they never had money. They were living well beyond their means, but if it makes them happy, then it is what it is. I let my wife do whatever she wants with her money, which sometimes includes buying stuff for her family, which I support her doing with her money if that's how she wants to spend it. But I make sure that she knows I don't want a dime of my money going to her family, since they were very unsupportive of what made us our money and would go as far as talking down about me for doing what led to our money. Yeah, exactly. Screw them. They can pay for all their crap themselves. If your wife wants to, fair, that's her family. And I really like that the OP here is supporting their wife in doing whatever they want with their money, not trying to control it, not saying, oh, most of that money is mine or whatever. You know, I don't know the dynamic. The wife might be in a really well-paying job too, so I don't know. But say the wife is earning less than the husband, and so the husband's picking up most of the bills or whatever. They're not sitting there going, no, you can't spend that money on them. I'm not letting you. They're not doing that. They're saying, but I ain't spending mine. And I think that is absolutely fair, personally. I wouldn't either. I'd be like, yeah, you can get stood on. And then down in the comments, Otsu Karen 613 says, you are not obliged to play nice just because they want your money. I would, however, play nice if I wanted my partner to be happy. You can be polite without giving them anything, especially if they haven't apologised. I'm going with not the butthole. Exactly. It's all about how you do it. If you go, oh yeah, I'll pay for our bits. How much is our bit? Without actually outwardly be going, nah, screw you all, I ain't paying for anything, you absolute pricks. Because obviously the OP's wife still cares about their family. I have no problem with it as long as you're not being an asshat about it, even though I think personally they fully deserve it. The only reason I say that is so as not to make it awkward for the wife. But yeah, I mean, I would totally understand even if you were an asshat about it, to be quite fair. And then the OP replied, my wife is definitely happy. She is content with our arrangement and has never complained about it, but recently her family has been putting pressure on her to make me loosen up and be part of the family more. Oh, funny how they want that and want to make you feel like part of the family. Now you have more money. And then Dryad Uinath, I think, maybe, possibly, probably not. It says, part of the family doesn't mean paying their way. Part of the family also doesn't mean accepting insults without objecting. Not the butthole. Yeah, definitely, 100% agree. In my family, we all pay our own way if we meet up for food. Like, sometimes, like, one person will be like, oh, I'm going to pay for everyone this time, but we don't expect it. Like, I know some people do, but yeah, we are all just like, no, everyone pays their own way. And the reason for that is because then there's never anyone who feels hard done by or like they're paying more than everyone else, you know? So it's a good way to just keep it all fair. Next up, am I the butthole for buying a PS5 without my boyfriend and saying it's mine? My boyfriend, 26M, and I, 26F, have been together for about 8 months. We live together but have split financials. Very smart, very smart. I've always said if I got in a relationship that was serious enough to move in, or if I got married or something like that, highly doubtful because I'm not even interested in dating. But if I did, I would not have anything like joint bank accounts or any of that. There'd be a joint one maybe to put the bill money in, to share that. I worked hard and went to college, which is why I have a well-paid job. When I met my boyfriend, he didn't have a serious job, but he worked hard so we could live together, and he now has a job with a decent income. He makes less than me, and the rent, etc., are divided pro rata. I paid for the first month of our rent alone and for our holidays, and he still has to pay me back. But there's no rush as I don't need the money right away. We really love gaming together. He plays on his PS4 and I play on my Nintendo Switch. He mentioned he would like to buy a PS5 together so we can ditch the Switch because it's lagging a lot. We did not talk about who would play on the PS4 and who would play on the PS5, but the cost would be split in half. I also said I would love to have a PS5 since I play on the Switch and it sucks. My boyfriend does not have enough money and still had to pay me back for the vacation, so we dropped the subject. Okay, so why would it have to be that only one person could play on the PS5? Because it says that we did not talk about who would play on the PS4 and who would play on the PS5. Surely if you split it and you're paying for it together, you'd just take it in turns, no? But since we've been gaming a lot, my Switch is starting to annoy me. The console is slow and it does not have enough capacity to load my games. There's nothing worse than when like a console starts to lag like that. Oh, it's so annoying. That's why I decided to buy a PS5. I have more than enough savings to do so. I texted my boyfriend I wanted to buy a PS5 later that day, and I did. Now, my boyfriend's pissed because he wanted to buy a PS5 together. It would take several months before he would have enough savings, which is why I bought it myself. He also asked if the PS5 belonged to both of us or just me. I responded that the PS5 is mine until he pays half of it, but he can always play on it if I'm not home. Fair, okay. He got upset by this and said he was disappointed and I am being unreasonable. So, am I the butthole for buying a PS5 without my boyfriend and saying it's mine? No. You paid for it. It is yours. And it's not like you're saying to him, oh, you're not allowed to play on it. You're basically saying, I've paid for this, so I'm going to play on it when I'm home. Feel free to play on it when I'm not on it. Like, what's the problem here? I keep having to stop this recording because my stomach is making like dying whale noises. Honestly, it won't shut up. It's the middle of the night. I am not eating now. I will feel so sick if I tried to eat now. I don't know if anyone else gets that. I get really bad acid reflux. I take medication every day for it. And I find these days, in my big old age, if I eat at midnight now, oh, I feel awful. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, my back hurts, my stomach hurts, my face hurts. I don't know why. So if you can hear any noises that sound like an injured animal, it's my stomach. I do apologise. I can't keep pausing this. It's going to take me hours to record like 20 minutes. Anyway. Down in the comments, Comfortable Box says, not the butthole. You said he can use it and have an ownership when he can afford it. I don't see what the problem is. He should be thankful your salary and hard work has allowed the both of you to enjoy the PS5 sooner than if you waited for him to save. I think he's just insecure about money and probably feels like you just buying a PS5 while he's still catching up on his debt to you is making him feel inferior. That's a him problem and not a you problem. You're an adult with an adult money that you worked hard for and can spend it as you please. Yeah, he probably is maybe feeling a little bit insecure and probably just a bit butthurt and jealous, which is fair and it's okay for him to feel like that, but he doesn't need to take that out on you. Maybe you should tell him he can't play on the PS5 until he can afford it since he seems so keen to bite the hand that feeds him. Now, I don't recommend that because that will probably cause one hell of an argument, but also, if he keeps being a pain in the butt about it, I mean, would I be tempted to say that? I would be lying if I said no. Next up, am I the butthole for requesting my nanny baby's mum to stop popping in to visit? So I'm assuming that means by nanny babies, that means the baby they nanny for. I've just hit the microphone again. Whoops. I just started nannying for a 6-month-old as her mum started work again 2 weeks ago. She is a lovely woman who works from home upstairs while I watch the baby downstairs. And mum likes to come down for nap time on her lunch and put the baby down. That's super helpful actually and works great. Yeah, I bet that gives you a nice bit of time for you to have some lunch then and actually have a sit down. What doesn't work so great is that she comes down to pop in every hour or so, which creates a screaming fit when she inevitably leaves again 2 minutes later. It's definitely not about not having trust in me. She has cameras in every room besides the bathroom. It's just that she misses the baby, which I get and I feel for her, but it's torture to deal with and baby gets so upset. I extremely politely asked if she could maybe limit the pop-ins to once or twice a day. She said she would, but had been cold towards me now. Was it wrong of me? I mean, no. But also you kind of can't tell the mum that she can and can't pop in. So not wrong of you to be saying, look, it's upsetting the baby and then it's being a whole pain then to settle her and what have you. And, you know, fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. But I also think the mum's probably feeling a little bit butthurt because she's probably like, this person is trying to tell me like that I can or can't come and see my kid whenever I want to. Like, what the hell? So it's probably just a little bit of a like, the mum probably realizes that you have a point. However, she's probably a little bit like begrudged that you've kind of told her what to do. Which I think is a natural human reaction, isn't it? So I just let her settle for a little bit, you know, let her just simmer on it and I'm sure she'll be fine. I think more than anything, it depends like the tone you used when saying it. If you were like being really snarky about it, then yeah, I could understand if she's being cold. But if you were like, oh, could we maybe perhaps limit the amount of times you come down, just because I've noticed that baby then gets all upset when you leave. So, just to keep it a bit more settled. It's a hard one because it's basically asking somebody, don't come down and see your kid in your own house. So it is a tough one, but I can definitely understand why you would ask. I totally can. So down in the comments, 1962 Michael says, not the butthole. The mum can presumably hear the screaming fit as she pops out back to her workspace. She's not unaware, but in this case, she's the boss, and if she wants to see her baby in her home, that is her prerogative. As the employee, you can certainly make a reasonable request, and the presumed eventual consequence of her not accepting that request would be that you would quit. If you are otherwise doing a good job, she's not going to fire you for making a reasonable request. In my experience, people agree and then go cold or give the silent treatment when they don't get their own way, and maybe even realise they were wrong but don't like being called out on it. Yeah, exactly, like being said, oh, can you please stop coming down because you're upsetting the baby. Obviously might make her feel some kind of way for a little bit, but I'm sure she'll go away, she'll think on it, and she'll be like, okay, yeah, fair enough. I do think you should take into account that she is transitioning back to work. It's only been a couple of weeks. She will get used to being away from the baby, and the baby will get used to being away from her. So it should get easier all round. Oh yeah, those first few weeks or months when you go back to work after having a baby, it's not nice. It's very disconcerting. You feel wrong for doing it. That's the only way I can really truly explain it, is you just feel wrong and you feel bad and guilty and everything. So yeah, it makes sense why mum would keep popping down, but yeah, it's a tricky one, unfortunately, but I don't think necessarily you're the butthole for asking. If you don't ask, you don't get at the end of the day. Next up, am I the butthole for refusing to fund my boyfriend's genius idea? I, F24, have been dating my boyfriend, M29, for 3 years, and while he's always been a bit wacky, I usually find it kind of endearing. This time, however, he's really outdone himself. A few weeks ago, he told me he had a groundbreaking idea that would change humanity forever. Oh dear. Entertaining him, I asked what it was. His answer, he wants to invent a new colour. Before we go any further, it's important to note that we are both college graduates. I graduated in biochemistry last year, and my boyfriend in philosophy a few years back, which makes this all wilder, I guess. I tried to gently point out that colours exist as a part of the visible spectrum of light, so unless he was about to discover some new wavelength, this might not be possible. But he waved me off, calling me closed-minded and saying he was enlightened in a way you'll never be. At first, I just nodded and let him ramble about his vision, but then he told me he needed funding to start his research. Specifically, he wanted me to give him $4,000 so he could buy supplies, including advanced art tools, a lab coat, because apparently scientists wear them so it would make him feel smarter. Oh goodness. And wait for it, a trip to the desert, because he thinks the pure sunlight there will inspire him. I think he's trying to take some money and run. That's what I think he's trying to do. He's just gonna steal your money and run for the desert. I told him, absolutely not. I'm saving for grad school, and even if I weren't, I'm not dropping thousands of dollars on his, whatever this is. He got mad, saying I didn't believe in him or his potential to revolutionize the human perception. He even accused me of being jealous that he had a world-changing idea, and I didn't. Oh, actually, now, reading those words, these seem like... I'm not going to say that it is right, but doesn't it ring a little bit like delusions of grandeur? Almost like maybe he's having a little bit of an episode? I don't know how to put it in a nice way, but you know when someone's had a little bit of a mental break? And now this isn't me taking the piss, this is me being very genuine. You know, when people have a mental break, quite often they can have all of a sudden these delusions of grandeur where they think that they're going to discover something absolutely revolutionary, or they're some sort of revolutionary healer or something like that. Like, maybe even it's a bit of a, maybe he's had a little bit of a mental break and that's what it is. I don't know. It could be a few things, couldn't it? It got really heated and he ended up saying a lot of things about using my card as he knows the details anyway. Uh-oh. Cut that card up and get it frozen right this minute. Like, do it yesterday. For reference, he's been unemployed for a while now, whilst I've got a regular job. I ended up saying some things I do regret, but a lot of it was retaliation. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, whatever's going on with him, I don't know. It seems like there's something going on. Either he's trying to pull a dodgy one and steal your money, or there's something going on with him which isn't quite right. Either or, it doesn't matter. Now he's made that threat to use your card anyway. Get it blocked straight away. It's so easy for your money to be stolen these days because as long as they know the details, it's scary. It scares me a lot. I don't have credit cards. I don't have any credit cards at all for this exact thing because it's so easy for them to be robbed. My money all stays in my savings and I only transfer it as of when I need it. Now he's sulking and telling everyone I'm unsupportive and afraid of innovation. His friends are backing him up and saying I should be encouraging his creativity instead of crushing his dreams. Well, tell them that they can go and give him the bloody $4,000 then. They want to be so flaming supportive of this absolute crackpot idea. Tell them they can fund it. Easy, problem solved. Am I the butthole for refusing to fund his quest to invent a new colour? See, the thing is, I think that if he wants to invent a new colour and he wants to try and do it, whatever, just do it as a fun little side hobby. Edit, in terms of DRUGs, we smoke the Funflower occasionally, but haven't in the past few weeks. I've never seen him do any other DRUGs, nor have I found any in the house, so I don't know if I can really blame this on a bad trip. Second edit, thank you guys for all the advice. I've moved the majority of my money into my second bank account for now, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't have access to. Yeah, I did ponder early into reading this if it was DRUGs, but I had to cut it out because for some reason the sound was all distorted. But the Funflower is not going to cause this if that's all they partake. In terms of his mental health, I'm not in the habit of sharing his personal history online, but seeing all your comments, I do agree that this might be a mental health issue. I'm going to attempt to approach him with the idea of a consultation tomorrow. If anyone has any advice on that, please let me know, as I don't want it to come across as insulting. I know he was down after his job, but the comments have got me more worried about serious illnesses that he may have. But yeah, I was thinking more along the mental health spectrum with the way that he had all these grandiose ideas and how it was so amazing and spectacular and how he is this absolute, basically, gift to the world. It does sound a bit like it, doesn't it? Again, I'm no friggin' mental health expert. I only know what I learn on the internet. And from my own experience, from someone very close to me who had some very similar happenings going on with these massive ideas of something completely revolutionary that would change the world, and actually it was that they were having a little bit of a hard time with their mental health and their mental health condition at the time, and then when they came out of it they were actually laughing about it and saying, oh, you know, I don't know what I was thinking. But it can happen. So I really hope that if that is the case, that OP's fella has got the help that they need. It might not be, though. It might just be OP's fella getting a little bit too excited about an idea. It's difficult to say, isn't it, when you're looking from the outside looking in? And also, I do apologise that I keep having to jump in with this crappy mic. For some reason, there is like weird things happening with the audio on this one today. So I've had to re-record bits. But I don't know. Ooh, it's a tricky one, that, because how do you approach it? Because if he is having mental health issues at the moment, and he does feel like he is very spectacular and the world can't touch him, the world's not on his level, he is not going to think that he has a problem and he will not agree to go. and he will be very offended at the suggestion. It is a very tough one. And then down in the comments, Snoobooks007 says, saying he was enlightened in a way you'll never be. With his superior enlightened brain, he should easily be able to figure out how to make $4,000 himself. Not the butthole, but you would be if you allowed the delicate genius to demean himself by begging for money from a lesser intellect. He's obviously better than that. Edit, my reply was obviously glib, but there is a possibility he's having some sort of mental breakdown, which requires professional attention. Yeah, exactly. I did laugh though at that. It did give me a chuckle, because also there is a chance he's just a butthole, and he's just a bit of a conceited git. But also, there is the same chance that there is something bad going on here. Front Obligation 773 says, I would suggest OP to request a new card so he no longer has the number memorized. Yeah, definitely. Request that. Get it done yesterday. And on that note, we're going to leave it there for today. I actually could have quite gladly carried on reading more and more stories today, but my stomach won't shut up. I keep having to pause it because the flaming mic's picking it up. So thanks to my stomach, I'm going to have to leave it here for today. Anyway, other than that, if you've made it all the way to the end today, then I appreciate you very, very much. Gold star, gold sticker, well done. Thank you very much. And if you give us a like and subscribe, I'd appreciate that even more. Other than that, I'm going to get off and I'm just going to go and listen to the dying whale orchestra of my stomach in bed. Oh dear. Goodbye.